First, I would like to give all honor, praises, and thanks to the God of our fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, the great, mighty, and benevolent God that remembered the covenant that he made with our fathers and did not leave us in the lands of the captivity, but has delivered us out of the iron furnace and allowed us once again in our generations to tread upon that great and holy land of ours. I greet you in peace.
Likewise.
To all the elders of the congregation, may the Holy One of Israel bless you, keep you, give you eternal peace, and I pray that in continuing on this path that he will allow you to experience eternal life. To all of those on the dais, Ashanava, Queen Mother, Sister Thomas, Councilwoman Tinubu, and to all of you that have taken the time out of your schedules to come and to share these precious moments with the God family, I am thankful and I am grateful. I would like to touch upon a subject this evening which is called the greater laws versus the lesser laws. Somewhere along this path, the great majority of our people have been convinced that law has been abolished. That with the coming of the Lord, the law is no more. But what I want you to do this evening, I want you to think. Because there is no practical way out of the dilemma that we find ourselves in, except that we are able to invoke God in our struggle on our side. Forget it. No way to win. No practical way out of this. And I want to remind you again that when I say God, I'm not talking about religion. You have been taught to respond as the system desired for you to respond. When I say God, you think religion. Subsequently, you become defensive, thinking that I'm trying to convert you to my religion. The Bible from Genesis to Malachi does not deal with religion. The commandments, thou shalt not steal, is not a religion. Thou shalt not commit adultery is not a religion. Thou shalt love he that made you with all your heart, soul, and might is not a religion. From Genesis, God has been trying. He made us in His image. And He simply gave us a way of life to give respect unto Him and to remain in harmony with the environment upon which we depended. But knowing in the last days, the adversary knowing that in the last days we would have to invoke God into our struggle on our side, He told us where to find God. And He told us that you find God via religion. But He defined that for us. There is a distinct difference between religion and righteousness. Religion was created in the image of man. You can find a religion that will allow you to do whatever you want to do because it was made in your image. But righteousness creates you in the image of God. There is a distinct difference between the two. Righteousness to say that you believe in God. But there is a difference. Everybody is a believer. If you go through the African American community, you'll find everybody saying they believe in God. When is the last time you met an African American atheist? But the problem then, if that's all that it took was believing, we wouldn't be in this predicament. Go through this audience, go through the communities and find me an African American that is an atheist that say he does not believe in God. And you have been taught just to believe. We've been believing for 400 years. Just believe. Believing in God is one thing. That makes you accountable for what you say. But the worship of God, to believe in God and to worship God is two different things. To believe in God makes you accountable for what you say. To worship God makes you accountable for what you do. That's why you keep on believing and you don't want to worship. Because to believe you don't have to change. But to worship, you got to change. You got to change. That's where the problems begin. You don't want to change. But then, I'm talking about change and you react as if it's something new. Something that you're not familiar with. You get nervous and you get all tense. But wait a minute. Since the mid-60s to the mid-90s, are you the same person? Are you changing? My sister, are the styles today as same as they were in the mid-60s? Are the children, parents, are you allowing children to do things in the mid-90s that you did not allow them to do in the mid-60s? Are styles changing? Your way of life in America changing? Politics changing? You're familiar with change. But when I come, the question simply is, has your change brought you closer unto God? You're familiar with change. So why you get tight when I'm talking about change? I'm just talking about a change that will draw you closer unto God. You've been changing for 30 years. So don't get nervous because I'm talking about change. My question simply is, the African American family today, are they closer to God through their changes in the last 30 years or farther away from God? Have you been changing? Certainly you've been changing. The question is, you've been changing and getting farther away from God. I'm talking about change. Change is nothing new, but you got to change your direction. You're not remaining the same in America. So don't get tight when I tell you got to change. Have you ever stopped to consider? I want you to think that possibly there is something wrong with this social system. Now, I don't mean just wrong in the sense of, well, there's something wrong with all of the social systems. Something beyond that. Have you ever stopped to think there's something ultra wrong with this social system? Wherever we are on this planet under this social system, we are catching hell. Whether the leader is black or white, it does not matter. Have you ever stopped to think then that maybe the problem is this social system? Now, there are only two forces on this planet vying for the souls of men. I don't want it to be 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. Only two, God and Satan. I've got a little question. If I gave the young man here, if I gave you the mind of God and let you go on the earth, what would you build on the earth? With the mind of God, what would you build on the earth? You would build a paradise, wouldn't you? If all of you all were possessed with the mind of God, what else could you build except a paradise? So if you were all equipped with the mind of God, you would build a paradise on the earth. Another question. If you were equipped with the mind of Satan, if you were equipped with the mind of Satan and I let you go on this earth, what would you build? What else could you build except a hell on earth? I don't want this to be complicated to you. Now, death by lethal injection, hanging, electric chairs, drive-by shootings, AIDS, cancer, heart attacks, rape, murder, infanticide, matricide, petricide, homicide, scared, bars at your doors, guards in the front yard, dogs in the little pens, dogs in the bedrooms. Now, tell me, scared to go in, scared to leave out. Now, what do you think that is? Hell. Now, who told you? Now, to build a world like that, what kind of a mind? Now, don't be ashamed because we got a testimony. Just go